guys, welcome to Cake and It's Special and happy Halloween. I love Halloween. It's so much fun every single year and this year will be no exception. I had so many ideas for Halloween cakes, but in the end I couldn't do them all, so I had to narrow it down. So this week I am making a human pie cake. So here we go. I started out with one 9-inch and two 8-inch vanilla sponges. I sandwiched them together with the 9-inch on the bottom using vanilla buttercream and raspberry jam. I add some red food gel to my jam. This just deepens out the red, makes it look more red than pink, and also makes it look more bloody. Once I've got the 3 cakes stacked, I then put this cake in the fridge to chill for about 20 minutes. This will let the buttercream set and it will make it so much easier for me to carve. So it's time to carve. This cake at the minute is upside down. So what I'm going to do is start at the top and I'm just going to taper out as it goes down. So it's like an upside down pie at the minute. So to help me out further, I put a bowl on top that's about 2 inches smaller than my cake and I draw a line around it with my knife. This just makes sure that while I'm carving at the top, it stays in a circle, which will make it so much easier when it comes to carving around. Okay, so it's time to flip the cake over. So I've got a circle cutter and I'm just going to use this to make marks on the side of my cake. This will act as the teeth marks, which will then help me carve out the bite. Top tip, when it comes to things like this is the perfect time to get rid of any imperfections that you don't like. So if your cake is leaning or if it's a bit darker on one side than the other from where it's been in the oven, this is the time to get rid of that. Always make sure you look first for the bit that you don't want on your cake. When I've achieved the shape I want, I'm going to do a crumb coat and I'm going to put this back in the fridge for another 20 minutes or so until the buttercream is firm. then decided that 2 of the teeth marks weren't deep enough, so what I did was I went back in with my circle cutter, removing a bit more cake and then crumb coating afterwards. Once your crumb coat is set, you can then go ahead and add another layer of buttercream. Keeping in mind that bite mark, you don't want to lose it under all your buttercream. It's now time for fondant. I achieved my base pastry colour using ivory, a little yellow and a little brown. I intend to dust this cake afterwards with some food dusts, so I wasn't looking for the perfect colour, just a good base to start with. So roll out your fondant so that it is big enough to go over the whole cake. Sometimes it helps to measure. As soon as you drape your fondant over the cake, immediately start smoothing around the top edge to prevent the fondant from tearing with the extra weight pulling it down. Keep smoothing it out till you get to the base, pulling out the pleats, smoothing it with your hands, and then afterwards you can go in with your fondant smoother. Once you're happy that the cake is smooth, you can go ahead and remove the excess from around the bottom of the cake using a sharp knife. I use my fingers to indent the effect of the pie crust all around the top of the cake. Inside of the pie, I used a few different sculpting tools to just make indents and marks and stuff to make it look like there was a filling inside this. Then use some more sculpting tools to score up the sides of the pie so it would look like that it had been baked in one of them foil trays. I paint the filling of the pie with ivory food gel. I was worried this might be a bit too light, but it was actually the perfect colour. I'm now going to colour this cake with some brown petal dust. I'm going to pay attention to where the pie would bake more in the oven, so the crust for example, but I don't want this to look like a nice golden pie that's perfect. I want it to look overdone and nasty and just something that you wouldn't want to eat. it's time to make body parts that are going to go inside this pie. I am using fondant with Tylose powder because they're just going to be laid on the board. I'm not relying on them to be sturdy or support any other fondant, so Tylose powder will work just fine for this. If I was hoping for it to stand on its own or to support anything, then I would definitely use gum paste, but for this, fondant and Tylose will work fine. I made some ears and some fingers with my Tylose fondant, and it was surprisingly easy because I have both of these things to use as models. With the fingers, I wanted to give them proper fingernails, well, what looked like proper fingernails, because I wanted it to look like they hadn't gone down without a fight, like they'd not just donated their fingers for this pie. I even gave one of my ears an earring. I just created all this using my hands and different modelling tools, but it was good fun. I enjoyed making them. The eyes, it was just more white fondant rolled into balls, and I just painted on the details of the eyes using food gels. I then took some piping gel and added my ivory food gel to it, and then I just poured this on the outside of the cake so it looked like it was part of the filling and all over the body parts. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you for watching. I'll be back next Wednesday at 5 PM GMT with another cake. Until then, please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up, and please share with everybody, like everybody. Thank you, bye.